the way you train a child will shape the child. You could send him to a convent, a madrasa, a Maoist training, a Hindu Pathshala, and you'll get 5 different kind of people. Or you send him to some school here and there. Whatever kind of school you send him, they have an ideology. The ideology is in the curriculum, in the material, and the teachers. So AI has to be trained. That is what AI is. AI is a machine that is trained using examples, using data, reinforcing what is right, what is wrong. It's all in the data. So we are not controlling that. People are taking our data, deciding what to use, training the machine, sending them back to us. So this is a very serious problem for us. Whether the future of education through AI will be good or bad depends on who trains. And I have talked about this to our gurus, and they don't understand what the heck is going on. I have not seen one guru who understands AI enough to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to have a Dharmic GPT. Yeah, Dharmic chat GTP. I told this to so many gurus. I will help you do that. You give me some resources. I will develop you an architecture for Dharmic GTP. So this GPT will actually talk like Sri Krishna, or talk like a guru supposed to talk. It will learn the Shastra, use the Shastra as the big data for training purposes, and learn how we are supposed to think, not how somebody else is supposed to think. And so when a question comes, it will answer based on our logic, our thinking, and give you reference also, that go read it from there. This is what we should do. This way we can, like the first question she asked, this way we will have a force multiplier to use AI to propagate our knowledge. But others are doing it. I am on a board called AI and Ethics, and there's another one called AI and Faith. It started by some Christians. I criticize that you don't have any Hindus, so they put me in. But the point is that the other religions, whoever is being represented by people, and their leaders, spiritual leaders, religious leaders are funding, backing. So there's a lot of Christianity and AI, a lot of Judaism and AI, a lot of Buddhism and AI, a lot of Islam and AI happening. But there is no Hinduism and AI of any significance that is going on. A lot of little projects here and there. But a big project to make an impact and use AI to train the world in our ethos would be fantastic.
We have gathered here for the book launch of The Power of Future Machines, edited by Rajiv Malhotra, T.N. Sudarshan, and Manogna Sastry.
Namaste, and thank you everybody for being here. It's always a delight to launch a new book, especially with one which involves so many wonderful authors. But we have one of the authors, Ravi Khanna, here, and an eminent educationist to help us with the launch discussion. So just to give you a little background, we are not focusing on the technology, so you're not going to learn Python or anything like that today. We're talking about policy, social issues, how it affects human beings, and what human beings need to know about AI, so that we control AI rather than some elite people with a lot of money controlling AI and using it to control us. How artificial intelligence can be misused. It can be used and misused. And particularly India, because we don't control the AI. We have AI engineers, but AI engineers work for Google and Microsoft and Apple. Our technical people are employees, and we don't control the technology. We don't own the proprietary rights and the patents and all that. So other people own these things, even though we are the labor. We're supplying labor. So we don't control what AI will do in India. That was the theme of that. And so this new book, which we are launching today, contains articles by other people along the same lines. What are the implications of AI for military? What are the implications for scientific discovery, for social rights, human rights, for geopolitics? Because whoever wins the AI race will be the next, big country. Right now, it's a toss-up between US and China. They're both neck to neck in terms of artificial intelligence. So this is a matter of concern for India. You see, people are not thinking forward. They're reacting after something happens. So you have to understand that technology has always affected civilizations. Technology has created empires. Babur brought cannons And so we created the whole Mughal empire because he had cannons. We did not have cannons. We had elephants and he had cannons. So he won battle after another. They won. And they created 1,000 years of slavery for us. British had the steam engine for industry and better than manual labor. And then they used electricity for industrializing it, electrification of industry. And we had manual power for industry. And so they created the industrial revolution and built a big empire. So now this is going to be the AI built empires. The question is who will have it and who will not have it. And are we going to become colonized again? Who knows? So that's the provocative message of the book, why you should take this seriously. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I would request one of the authors, Ravi Khanna ji, to please say some words in the book.
So good evening, everybody. This has been a very interesting journey which Rajiv has taken on. When I read the first book on artificial intelligence, I was really moved because although I'm a semiconductor engineer by training, I left that way behind. But since then, I have been doing a lot of work in Vedas and science and writings and lectures related to that. I found that he had very timely, sort of warned us against the onslaught of artificial intelligence. We can see, very clearly in our society, as technological advancements are happening. Take the telephone, for example, and how iPhone changed the whole context by making it, touch sensitive. Earlier, we had these flip phones, and the whole usability has changed, and how technology is very rapidly changing these things. In this case, artificial intelligence is something, it's like a Pandora's box. It is going to touch each and every application. In fact, we are right at the beginning of this revolution. And as you can see in the second book where he's collected these articles, very meticulously, there is going to be the applications from anything that you can imagine. Okay, and this whole idea of artificial intelligence touching neural networks, where machine learning is becoming important. It's going to take the drudgery out of the mental capacity and work. So there are articles which will show you how huge amount of data can be tackled very, very rapidly using machine learning. Something which human beings would have taken hundreds of years. Another very good example which is happening already is facial recognition, which a lot of people, you've heard of. But now the technology which Chinese people have taken because of their, algorithms which they are developing to another level, absolutely. You have somebody walking into an airport and you can check the entire database to see, what is happening. That's the kind of speed and things. So, I mean, it's mind-boggling where artificial intelligence is going into, security areas, into sort of militarization. So my take here is an article number 8 in this book, where I talk about that this is like the Sagar Manthan again. Again, the applications are really which need to be controlled, and we need to control them like the devtas controlled the asurs at that time. The only difference here is that the snake is not the rope, the artificial intelligence is the rope. And this is really where we need to bring up, the awareness amongst the youth, amongst our education system, where we bring responsibility into the usability of artificial intelligence. I know it is a very, very difficult task because, you are depending on the ethics and the teaching of the people, but we should tackle that at the fundamental level also. It's fine, the applications will increase, and like any technology, there will be a plus side and a negative side, but we need to somehow promote that at the youth, at the young level, we start bringing this into our education system where we have responsible artificial intelligence. So I take Rajiv's, earlier books and earlier references, and in this particular introduction in this book, the last AI book which he referred to, he puns on the word rhythm. So he says, is algorithm actually rhythm? Algorithm. So rhythm, if in Sanskrit, is the order, is the fundamental order in the universe, which brings about the order in each and everything in the micro level. So the Vedas are very clear. They talk about the macro symmetry connecting to the micro symmetry. Okay. And that is rhythm. So it's very beautifully brought out that point. And that is what I have elaborated on. That was my, in the article to take. And I've shown how there are very ways through some mantras and through the concept of infinities, and how we can bring order by Vedic wisdom into our everyday usage of this, artificial intelligence. Okay. So I just trust that do read, and there are a lot of other very interesting applications. Okay. So thank you so much.
Thank you for your informational words, Raviji. I would request Virendra ji to say something on the book.
Good afternoon, everybody. And thank you to Rajiv ji. I am a new journey of learning. Because artificial intelligence, if I look at the universities, at institutions, it has always been considered as a tool to do a lot of things. But a tool can be used to do something good, and a tool can become a devil when he put you to do something. So a lot of things are there which need to be seen, which need to be discussed and elaborated. And as it was just told, that Samudra Manthan is happening. Amrit Kal hai, Samudra Manthan is happening. And is in this Samudra Manthan, a lot of things have to come. Naturally, when Samudra Manthan will be there, so wish will also come. And Rajiv ji is playing a role of Neelkant. He is having all that poison, what is coming out, all things, because people may think that he is against the technology. He is a man who do not think beyond his own thought process. But actually, this is what is required. He has given us a reason to think again. In our universities also, now we have to think again beyond technology. We have to think that how it is going to impact, what will be the role. And definitely this book and his previous book, they are going to make it more clear to the young people that how to use a tool like a tool for the benefit of the society, for the benefit of the humanity, and for the benefit of the nation, which had been a great nation, is a great nation, and will remain great nation because it has produced some great sons like Rajiv ji. Thank you.
Thank you for your words, Virendra ji. I'm sure after this erudite panel speech, we want to have a look at the book. I would request the panel to please formally launch the book.
So to kick off the discussion, I'd like to ask the panelists that is this a very unique window of opportunity that we have to using AI to truly decolonize India? Because after 75 years, we've really not achieved much. We are all very colonized. But is AI going to give us a unique window of opportunity to truly decolonize, because it's a force multiplier? So if so, how would we do it?
I can offer my views on it. I think either artificial intelligence will decolonize us or it will recolonize us. And that's the scale. Those are the stakes. It's like, gunpowder had been invented, and then but it is Babur who brought it to India. And then we know the rest of history. We could have done it also, but we were just happy with ourselves. We are 5,000 years old. Nothing will happen. We have the devatas and we are great, and we had Pushpak Viman, all that nonsense, So now the question is, are we going to live in the clouds as some Vishwa Guru ideals and all that, or are we going to do something practical? In the case of AI, if you want to use AI to make India Vishwa Guru, then you have to stop being Vishwa Coolie. Right now, India is the Vishwa Coolie. We are basically doing the coolie work for other people. Our technocrats we've rented the brains of Indians for American companies to use them and build technology, pay us good salary, and we are happy because we can repatriate money home, and FDI is coming and all that stuff. Our government is very happy. We are renting our brains. It's like labor, but we are not building assets that we own. assets are owned by those guys. And then they use the asset, then we don't like how they're using it. We don't like that in social media there's bias against us. They control who will be boosted, who will be blocked. We don't control our own social media. We don't control the spread of knowledge. Even education is becoming AI based. Education is becoming AI based. So whoever controls the algorithms and the machine learning is going to drive education in the way they want to. So think of the AI-driven, AI-based education like the future teachers, like you do teacher training. And what is the ideology that you train the teachers will influence the students. So all the administration of the country, banking, finance, who gets loans, who gets funded, engineering, military, it's all going to be driven in this way. Agriculture, medicine. So the question is, are we going to be developing AI solutions using foreign platforms? Right now the answer is yes, that's what we are doing. Because we are lazy. Somebody comes to us and says कि मैं आपका काम कर दूंगा और आप ये ले लीजिए मुफ्त का है, तो हम कहेंगे वाह भाई बहुत अच्छी बात है, मुफ्त का है. But if it is free, there must be a motive. So we are not sharp enough in thinking that. And this is a job of government which the government has not done. It's the job of Niti Aayog which the Niti Aayog have not done. They've outsourced their job to the foreign consultants. And the foreign consultants are working for their side. So you see, neither the industrialists nor the Niti Aayog and government have done a proper job of understanding artificial intelligence, how to prevent the wholesale data mining that's going on in India, a lot of data mining going on, how to turn this around. We should be data mining Pakistan right now. We should be data mining all the neighboring countries. We should be data mining, like China is data mining the whole world. They're data mining from USA's, stealing data, whatever it takes, they're doing it. So we are not at all going out and aggressively doing the data mining. In fact, people are data mining us and we are saying, हाँ चलो रहने दो, we'll be okay. We have to stop that. And we have to have our own, this whole language model is a very key thing. And AI engines are a very key thing. And learning models are very key things. We have to have those fundamental technologies. Then we can be one of the main countries in the future era of AI. So that's what I feel, but I'd like to hear what others feel.
I agree with Rajiv here wholeheartedly, and really feel thankful that at least maybe 8 to 10 years late, but we are at least getting onto the bandwagon. Okay. However, just like some of the other technologies, we need to do it very quickly, very fast. So I'll add from the semiconductor angle. I mean, we are talking about AI and, we are building these machines and everything. But at the same time, even after all the software is done, for the hardware, we are dependent on foreigners because we don't have our own semiconductor manufacturing industry. It's a fledgling industry and it's starting now. Although the government has realized very late in the day that, they have started incentivizing, and couple of units under the name of Foxconn and other collaborations are coming up. But we need to do that hugely and very, very fast, because we cannot just leapfrog in the algorithms and, the applications. We will need to support it with the hardware. Okay, so we need to have a complete plan for the country to really, really take it. It's not that we cannot do it. We've done it. We've done it in earlier technologies. I remember the time in mechanical engineering, if you see that, we had only 2 cars, that we could select with, and one had to wait 8-10 years to even get a vehicle. I mean, it used to sound very, very ridiculous. And today, 30 years later, I can't even count the number of models which are there on the road. We talk about electric cars and, suddenly you're swamped with the options. So it's not that the country cannot do it. Let's all put our, capabilities together and use this, trigger, which Rajiv has, suddenly given us at the right time with the right information to really, really prod the authorities and whoever the decision makers are, that we must take this to the next level and very, very quickly. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, nothing much to add, but this is an awareness call. And when we talk about data mine, we have to mine the data also. So we have to understand this thing, that whatever is coming to us, what information is coming, we have to start minding it. We have to start looking into that, and that will change, because colonization or decolonization both lies here. It is not something physical much, but it lies here. The day we start thinking and understanding what is happening, it will never happen again.
Sir, one part here is what the government has to do about policies or data mining in neighboring countries or about AI education, but I don't see much of that happening right now. So as a private individual, let's say people like me in the software industry, what can we do? And can we really do something that can make a difference?
So, luckily, AI is young enough that while there are certain type of products which require $1 billion, like OpenAI got 10 billion investment from Microsoft recently, a month ago. So some things, like will need government and big industry. But at the other end of the spectrum, there are other very big innovations, breakthrough innovations that require brains rather than money. Okay, so you can have few people and you can do something intelligent. So the idea I would say is Indians need to create invest in AI technology companies, not sell out to the Western venture capitalists. What is happening is few people get together, they make a big AI system, and then they hope that Microsoft or one of those guys will buy them out, or some Kleiner Perkins or one of those venture capitalists will buy them out. They'll retire, make $20 million and enjoy. This is what's happening. So जो हम पैदा कर रहे हैं वो हम बेच देते हैं. But the value is far greater if you stick to it for 20, 30, 40 years and make it into something big. I'm surprised that DRDO is not buying out Indian tech companies. DRDO got the money. DRDO buys all this imported technology. But our own people, our people develop something, then the Americans buy them out, then they make something big out of it, then DRDO goes and buys that product back for a huge amount of money. What is a stupid thing to do? I mean, this lack of strategic thinking. DRDO has the money, and so many departments have the money. They should be like in the United States. I don't know how many of you heard of DARPA, DARPA. That stands for Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. Now DARPA started what became the internet. It was a DARPA project. It was called DARPA Net. Okay, it was only for defense people. Then they allowed it for physics and intellectuals, university people. I became one of the early members of DARPANet. Then they removed D and it became ARPANET. And then ARPANET got privatized and put into the industry and became internet. That's the story. So they incubated it. DARPA created the laser. DARPA created fiber optics. And guess what? Some years back, this driverless car, the cars with AI driving on their own. DARPA is the one who started a competition. They said that there will be a prize for this amount of money. Whoever can drive their car across the desert of New Mexico, Arizona, that area, southwest United States is desert. So they have a 200-kilometer or something like that track that the car had to run on its own without a driver. So the DARPA is inspiring these things. Why can't our DRDO inspire our university to do these things? So there was an entry from Stanford, an entry from Carnegie Mellon, these different universities. No car went more than, say, 100 feet. They all caught fire, they tipped over, they didn't work. But that was the first attempt. That's how innovation is. You always fail. But people got so inspired that teams were created. A lot of these universities, they created a little team here, little team there. Then just like in the Formula One, they got backing from a company, sponsored a team. Next time, DARPA did another one. This time, a lot of people were able to run their driverless car for some time, So this is how the whole thing started. And today, it's the industry of the future. DARPA started it. So why isn't DRDO able to have imagination and use the brains we have? We have a lot of brains. And these brains are working for foreign countries. This is the problem that the planning people of this country have not appreciated, that you don't become Vishwa Guru just by talking and slogans and all that. Vishwaguru means you figure out what's strong. Here, we got brains, we are strong. So how to utilize the brains? The worst thing you can do is rent out the brain to somebody. You hire the brain for $10,000, you rent it out to some American for 30, 40,000, you make money, you become a billionaire, who have a big high-rise skyscraper, fly around the world in your private jet. Everybody says you must be a great guy. All you have done is sold out the brain power of your country and made yourself rich. That's how all these tech guys made a lot of money. They didn't invent anything. They basically rented out brains, hiring people and renting them out. So, we have to, what you can do as an individual is to raise your voice against this and make more young people aware that they should invest in building technology and don't rent their brain and don't sell the technology to someone else.
The existing IITs, how can they change the discourse for encouraging the IIT products in making innovations in our country and rather than selling out, as you have said?
So there's a book we have called The Battle for IITs. Have you seen it? Okay, you should get a copy of that. IITs themselves are being taken over. So before you can think of what can IITs do to lead us into the future, first they have to protect themselves from being taken over. And that is what's happening. It's called The Battle for IITs. Please read it. It's just 150-page book. You will understand the challenges that IITs are facing in order to survive. It's not because of lack of money or any of that stuff, but they are being attacked and they need to defend themselves. But once they are able to do that, they certainly need to go beyond, and they need to teach more innovation to their students. They need to teach how to design things, how to do projects of their own, rather than book knowledge. Right now, they're producing people who can just write a lot of code and be hired doing the grunt work, doing the low-level grunt work. Very few of them really are trained right after college to go and innovate. This is what we need to do. And then they need to have venture capital funding. They should give funding to students who want to go out and develop their own technology. So IITs can do a lot because they have a brand name, they have credibility, and they need to use it.
Okay, so I'll just like to add that, that's a good question. The IITs are existing institutions and, expanding very quickly. And Rajiv very timely has pointed out how, there is a threat of, in this battle of IITs, how this threat from the external universities and other sources is trying to thwart this innovation. But the whole idea behind this is, yes, we should find these, platforms and really fund them and look at them very dynamically. Again, it goes back to the government, where the funding bodies are, that, they bring in, and I would repeat that, the IITs are capable of getting to the level of both the semiconductor level, the hardware level, as well as the software level. Remember that when any application in artificial intelligence, or for that matter, anything, it gets, fully designed as a chip. And that chip has to be produced, which is specific to that application, and you build it there. So it's like you go from one stage to the other as you build up the whole infrastructure for hardware and the capacity to really make complex, semiconductors. So all that is where the IITs can really contribute. They can create this huge infrastructure where they all interact with industry, and there is funding bodies for this, where they can build up this kind of synergy. But time is running out. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Being from education field, yes, IITs should do and can do. But as Rajiv ji mentioned, design, innovation, and research, these are the key for any institution. But our IITs have become something else. Culture of innovation, designing new things, thinking, creativity among the students, it is missing somewhere. The challenge is that we believe more in giving consultancies, and consultancy to whom? Where he is trying to make us aware. So this is the challenge. Definitely needs, and I have not gone through the book, The Battle for IITs. I will definitely love to go through. This challenge is there, which need to be addressed. And the most important thing now, what we have to understand, that instead of talking about IITs only, we have to talk about the educational institutions be IIT or not IIT, those who are doing good.
You know, India has one of the lowest R&D budget as a percentage of GDP. It's very low compared to US, China, Japan, France, all the advanced countries. As a percentage of our GDP, we spend very little. So it means that we are doing it intentionally. How do you expect to get results if you don't invest in it? So we, at the same time, we are always importing the latest technology, but that latest technology is somebody else's R&D. The reason they are charging us so much money is because they've invested in technology, we did not. So this is all, I do not understand what Niti Aayog is doing, because this is their job. They are supposed to shake up the whole country machinery, but they are hiring foreign consultants to tell them what to do, and the foreign consultants are not going to decolonize Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog needs to be decolonized.
Rajiv ji, my fundamental question is, in India, we do everything. At the last is the firefighting. Do we have any institutional mechanism by which we have the long-term planning? I think it's not. But I think you panelists have to suggest to the government and Niti and others कि भैया long-term planning करो, strategic planning करो, तभी कुछ कर पाओगे. China has got 30-year plan. What we have only pyramids and this and that, nothing more than that.
The thing is, it's not like willingness on our side, but willingness from the other side to listen. जब मेरी book Battle for the Artificial Intelligence and the Future of Power निकलने वाली थी, उसके 6 महीने पहले I was circulating papers, becoming very unpopular because I said, do not sell out Geo to Google and Facebook and use their platform. Create your own platform. You got the money. Those people have a lot of money. Why aren't you doing that? So it was very unpopular. Then the Niti Aayog organized an AI conference, 4-day conference. तो उसमें मेरे को invite ही नहीं किया. So I had to call somebody who knows somebody. तो उन्होंने कहा चलो इसको भी दे दो. And then they called me, and I was supposed to be the main speaker in one panel. They had 50 panels in the 4 days. One of them I was supposed to be the main speaker, and it was all on Zoom. And the person who's hosting, he didn't obviously like me. Boli ja raha hai, mera naam hi nahi aaya. Then he asked one guy to speak. Then he asked another guy to speak. So I just told him, I said, am I supposed to be here, or am I in the wrong place? Because I thought I was supposed to speak. He said, we will definitely be leaving the best for last. Because then at the end, they'll say we run out of time. That's what they did. But I made my point. They gave me less time than they were supposed to. But in that, I gave them hard hitting. And all those other panelists were these consultants from various places. Unko khoob kar rahe the. You see, our country is sold out. Bikke hue log. I'm telling you, either there's corruption, they're getting money, or they're getting foreign trips, or whatever it is. Our people do not have the ability to stand up and make a point. We are so kind of inferiority complex. So how do you turn around a country which is dependent on bureaucrats and strategic planners who don't have the confidence in our own culture and our own civilization? Bolenge both hum great the, ye the, wo the. But when it's time to face the Western world or somebody, they just begin to shake their knees. So I found it very strange that they would not. I'm not asking them to say it. Meri baat hai, chahe baad mein criticize bhi karo. You know, the irony is, after I said all these things, privately I got a lot of congratulatory messages from some of the Westerners. They said, you made some good points. So, हमारे लोग डरते हैं. This is our problem. गुलामी की बात है ना ये तो. So we are, in a sense, we are still colonized.
My question to you, gentlemen, is what are your views on the excess of artificial intelligence? Do you think they will have negative effects on us or society in general?
So for that, you should read the book. I mean, complicated things have to deserve a whole book. So there I've talked about how the effect on psychology, the effect of artificial intelligence on psychology, degrading the human mind and turning dependence or too much dependence on algorithms. I call it moronization. Means that our people are becoming morons. Lallu ban rahe hai. Moronization of the masses. That's what is happening. And then dependence on algorithms which are then controlled by other people. So not only I am dependent on the algorithm, indirectly I am dependent on people who control the algorithms, and worse still, these people are overseas. They are not accountable. What is going on, they are not accountable. So the problems are numerous. I would like to see an AI commission, like the Atomic Energy Commission, like the Space Commission. They should create an artificial intelligence commission. They should not put it in Delhi. There'll be too much interference. Like the one is in Bombay, the other one is in Bangalore. They should have some artificial intelligence commission, put it somewhere far away, and they give them a huge budget, let them hire a lot of brains, and let them develop. It will take them at least 6 months to a year to develop a good strategy, long-term strategy, and give them the funding to beg, borrow, or steal. Even if they have to steal like China does, jahan se bhi lana hai, le aao. But this is a 10 to 15 year gap we are behind, and you cannot survive as a sovereign country unless you can catch up with this technology. It is so serious. So you have to create this commission, and it should not report under Niti Aayog. They should be their own. I don't think the Space Commission reports to Niti Aayog. I don't think the DARPA Atomic Energy reports to Niti Aayog, nor should artificial intelligence. Those guys in Niti Aayog are unqualified. They should not be running this kind of thing. So this is the book I was telling you about. It's called Artificial Intelligence and the Future of Power: 5 Battlegrounds. So this covers the battlegrounds. First battleground is the effect on economy, industry, education, and jobs. Both good and bad. Good also, but on jobs, there may be a lot of disruption. Battleground 2 is geopolitics and military. Can India face US and China in this geopolitics and military? Battleground 3 is moronization of the masses. This is a psychological bowing down to the digital deities. Google devta, Twitter devta, Facebook devta. This is like we are becoming servants to these people, these devatas, which are the algorithms. Battleground 4 is loss of selfhood to artificial emotions and gratifications. This is the crash of civilization, meaning that your emotions are now being controlled by these kind of things. They're gratifying you, making you happy, making you sad. The algorithms know how to push the right buttons and manipulate your emotions. And finally is stress testing the Indian Rashtra. Stress testing. You do a stress test and see, is the Indian Rashtra viable? Is it secure? How vulnerable is it? And so on. So that's what this book is about.
My question is to all three of you. With the recent development of AI systems, especially in the education sector, such as the Notion AI or the Chat GPT, it's quite interesting to speculate how our Indian educational system is going to turn out. As a student of philosophy, I'm quite curious that how our moral, cultural and value education system is going to look in future. Do we see a dim future or a bright one?
I think everybody should philosophize on this. I'll tell you my philosophy, but they should also be required to take a position. I'll tell you my view is very clear. The way you train a child will shape the child. You could send him to a convent, a madrasa, a Maoist training, a Hindu Pathshala, and you'll get 5 different kind of people. Or you send him to some school here and there, whatever kind of school you send him, they have an ideology. The ideology is in the curriculum, in the material and the teachers. So AI has to be trained. That is what AI is. AI is a machine that is trained using examples, using data, reinforcing what is right, what is wrong. It's all in the data. So we are not controlling that. People are taking our data, deciding what to use, training the machine, sending them back to us. So this is a very serious problem for us. Whether the future of education through AI will be good or bad depends on who trains. And I have talked about this to our gurus, and they don't understand what the heck is going on. I have not seen one guru who understands AI enough to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to have a Dharmic GPT. Yeah, Dharmic Chat GPT. I told this to so many gurus. I will help you do that. You give me some resources. I will develop you an architecture for Dharmic GPT. So this GPT will actually talk like Sri Krishna, or talk like a guru supposed to talk. It will learn the Shastra, use the Shastra as the big data for training purposes, and learn how we are supposed to think, not how somebody else is supposed to think. And so when a question comes, it will answer based on our logic, our thinking, and give you reference also, that go read it from there. This is what we should do. This way we can, like the first question she asked, this way we will have a force multiplier to use AI to propagate our knowledge. But others are doing it. I am on a board called AI and Ethics, and there's another one called AI and Faith. It started by some Christians. I criticized that you don't have any Hindus, so they put me in. But the point is that the other religions, whoever is being represented by people, and their leaders, spiritual leaders, religious leaders are funding, backing. So there's a lot of Christianity and AI, a lot of Judaism and AI, a lot of Buddhism and AI, a lot of Islam and AI happening. But there is no Hinduism and AI of any significance that is going on. A lot of little projects here and there. But a big project to make an impact and use AI to train the world in our ethos would be fantastic.
So I agree with Rajiv, and it's a very important thing. But educating right from the young age is a generational project. It will take one complete generation to bring about change. So when we are tackling the AI, issue, we should be tackling it at all fronts, at all levels, current and future. So that's the whole purpose of tackling any problem. Okay, number one. Then when you are teaching, you need, right? Rajiv says again and again, bring about algorithms. In our case, we have a huge literature. I mean, Dr. Kapil Kapoor, I remember, did a project where he was asked at the time of Dr. Murli Manohar Joshi to put together a list of all the books in Hinduism which are available and the shakhas. It took him 3 years with 15 people, and I think he generated almost 30-40 volumes of just the list of the things. So the kind of material which is available, which goes under the head of Vedas or Hinduism, I'm not getting into that ism business, but it's the knowledge which is historically belongs to this country. Now that is the knowledge which needs to be digested and put, like he said, in a Guru GPT, which really then can give you the immediate answers and build that machine learning very rapidly, and the references. Because there's a huge data and one person cannot even list it, So there is a lot of room for that. Yes, you need to find the right resources. You need to find the right backing, private or, government. But these things do need to be done. And we have an independent, culture which needs to build it up, you see. So that's my take on that.
When we talk about this Chat GPT or Guru GPT as referred, even in Google, you cannot find many things. Because generally what happens, what is the problem, we do not go for that, but the new thing starts, and generally the young generation start thinking about that. You try to Google what is the meaning of spiritualism. You will get 100 references. Out of those 100, 95 will not belong to India. They will come from somewhere else. And we all could do it. We all can work on that. So this Chat GPT and all those things, they are the advanced brother or big brother of what we were having. And we adopted it as a guru. We say Google Guru hai, usse pooch lete hain. So now that has to be changed. And how it will be changed? That we all have to work in that direction. We have to see that the encyclopedia, I will use the word, what has been created. But generally what is happening, that what we created, what we have historically, that is in a language we do not know. So there is a book again from Rajiv ji, which speaks about Sanskrit. Okay, the battle for Sanskrit. There are many things which need to be done. Because if we say only algorithm will do, only technology will do, only some people will sit and they will change the whole thing, we can change the narrative, we can change the perception, but the realities can only be changed when we will go in the route where Rajivji wants us to visit, understand, and want a contribution, especially from the young generation. In universities also the same thing has to be there. Like universities have to have spiritual centers.
एक theory है, and the question is, can AI help in that? The theory is कि Indian और Western जो systems हैं, उसमें major difference क्या है? Indian systems are subjective and Western systems are objective. For example, let's take music. They have written music and they teach the music like that. And our music is not written. It's basically transfer of experience from the guru to the disciple. And let's take medicine. We have Nadi Pariksha. It cannot be taught through a book or anything. So our systems are subjective, and the method of teaching is experience transfer, not bookish knowledge or data, a lot of data. So can AI preserve these systems? Can we study these systems with AI and maybe innovate these systems with AI?
So the Indians are subjective and Westerners are objective is a oversimplification, is not really true. We have a lot of objective knowledge also. They have a subjective knowledge also. You talked about Nadi Pariksha. One of the world's leading experts is Vasant Lad. You know Vasant Lad? Okay. He's in New Mexico. He's a good friend of mine. I've been there to his... I went to his institute and he was teaching a course on Nadi Pariksha. There were about 30 students. All of them were white people. One was an Indian. So I was very disappointed. I said, "Ki aap next generation ko teach kar rahe ho, but the next generation you are training will be Westerners. Taking this knowledge, the next generation, your followers will be Westerners. Indians to hai nahi." And I said, "This thanks to this one guy, at least he is doing it." He said, "No, this one guy is my son. I required him to sit there." So the point being that nobody, we are not continuing. One fellow there was a Russian. Afterwards, dinner and all, then we sat and chatted and all, you know. So he was showing him a watch. And he said, so I said, "What is this?" He said, "I'm patenting the Nadi Pariksha using artificial intelligence." So what he has is, you see, because in Nadi Pariksha, you have many 16 levels of pulse. And then the pattern of the pulse within the pulse within the pulse, you learn, you know. So what they have done is they've tried to figure out a very sensitive way of measuring pulse, the pulse within the pulse, like physically. That's objective measurement. And then they are feeding the guru, Vasant Lad, passes judgment and says, "This means you have a problem in liver," whatever, right? And so the AI machine is being trained to look for those patterns. So using Vasant Lad, one of the last big gurus of our tradition, Russian is training his algorithm to replace guru with machine. So this is what you just mentioned is actually exactly the opposite. What is happening is the opposite of what we should be doing. So then I know one guy in Hyderabad, Indian guy. He has been telling me for 10 years that he's going to invent this watch and using AI do Nadi Pariksha, and then he will sell this watch, and when the person wears this watch, it will give him a readout that, you know, your pulse, your heart is this, that, good, bad, what is good, what is bad, you are about to have trouble. So this is what the guru teaches through pulse. So the watch will have the AI in it, and it will be connected through internet, and it will keep diagnosing you 24/7. Very interesting idea. So you see, first of all, forgetting whether it's an Indian or Russian, whoever doing it, first of all, AI is going to crack that. It is not that it is subjective, so you'll never have a machine cracking it. That's a wrong idea. That used to be, people said you cannot recognize somebody's face because I can tell who you are, whether you are smiling or not. But AI facial recognition outperforms human beings. Outperforms human beings. Cheaper, faster, better, more accurate than human beings. So all this business of subjective is also being cracked. So don't feel that we are protected from subjectivity being cracked by AI, because it's also cracking that. However, the real issue is who will control this, the AI based knowledge of our tradition. Now the other example, one was Nadi Pariksha, the other is Ayurveda. They are doing a lot of research in Massachusetts General Hospital and Harvard. I've gone there and recorded videos. I haven't put them out yet, where they are taking the effect of Ayurvedic medicine and all the meditation and all the things we are prescribed, the effect on the genetic, not the genes because the DNA won't change, is permanent, but what is called epigenetics, which is the genetic, all the stuff around the DNA. That thing has not been properly understood in modern medicine. So that this is a way to correlate to use AI and see how the Ayurvedic treatment changes that deeper level of your genetics. So this is happening. Our people are not at the frontiers. Our people are not at the cutting edge. We are happy that some guy invites me to England or gives me a first class ticket to go to United States. I go there. I'm a very big shot and they respect me and they look after me. Then I come back. But what they don't realize is that you are actually selling out.
I am from the Terry School of Advanced Studies, and I just wanted to know your view on the higher engagement of Indians with secondary data as opposed to collective and engaging with primary data. Perhaps, it's not about colonialism, but about this tendency. What's your impression?
So can you tell me secondary versus primary in what domain, which kind of data? Biological data. So there is no excuse not to use primary data. But primary data is being captured, but it is being sold off. Like I remember some people from Ayush and AIMS and whatnot, we held a big workshop at Niti Aayog 4-5 years ago. And they were very proud that a whole lot of primary data they capture and they have a collaboration with somebody in England and he will process it through his algorithms and give them the results, which is so foolish. We should be doing that.
This takes us to the end of the session. I thank you everyone for coming to the launch. Thank you panelists. Thank you editor.